That's the beauty of wakaf, you see. Anybody can contribute, and wakaf can be in any forms, or instrument. So that's very flexible instrument, basically.
All right. So I think when you're ready, I think I would say we can start the podcast for the next 1 hour, and I will say hi to our audience.
Sure.
Not only in Indonesia, you have audience. I believe you have shared the flyer to your friends and colleagues, your classmates in Malaysia and some other countries as well. So yeah. All right.
Maybe most of them will be, view this letter through YouTube channel. I don't know.
Yeah, so this will be available on multiple
Yeah.
platforms on our Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as well. And so yeah, no worries.
Okay, then Reza, I think I'm ready to start.
All right, okay. Thank you so much, Bang Fami. All right, let me say hi to our audience. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good to see you again. I'm Muhammad Reza from the Good News from Southeast Asia. Today, we're going to have another viewpoint on the power of wakaf, or how Islamic philanthropy can drive social change in Southeast Asia, with our respective speaker, Mr. Fahmi M. Nasir, who is the founder of Jumpa de Mesara, Wakaf Research and Consultancy Center in Aceh, Indonesia, the westernmost province in Aceh. That was, of course, as you all know, the province was heavily impacted by the tsunami in 2004, which was 21 years ago. And now we'll spend about an hour to talk about how Islamic philanthropy, in that sense, wakaf, can drive social change, not only in Indonesia, but also in other countries in Southeast Asia, in Malaysia, in Singapore, in Thailand, in the Philippines, in Brunei, or even beyond Southeast Asia. So if you have any questions, feel free to type your questions on the comment section, and then I will read them out later when we have the question and answer session. All right, without further ado, I briefly introduce you to Bang Fahmi, who is very, I would say, concerned about this issue. And so first, to begin with, this is the ice-breaking question for you. Can you share with us what sparked your interest in wakaf law and development, and how you got started in this field? Like, and when was that?
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It is really a great honor and at the same time humbling experience for me to be part of your prestigious platform. So your question is really very good question. So I think we need more than 2 hours to share this. You see, I grew up in Aceh, where at that time our surrounding villages we find a lot of wakaf asset. Even our family also involving on donating wakaf to rebuild school, mosque, what have you. So that is the first time I got to know on wakaf. But of course, the understanding of the kid at that time is very limited. But what I see is all over Aceh, there's a lot of wakaf asset. So that's number one. But then later on, when I continue my postgraduate studies, I mean master's study at IUM Malaysia. So I met this professor Sheikh Al Rashid. One day, when I met him, he was doing the project of taking the book from Ahmad Ibrahim, the late Ahmad Ibrahim, to UIA, meaning that Professor Ahmad Ibrahim at that time was passed away 2 years before. Then he donated all of his books to IUM. So the people in charge for that was Prof. Sheikh Al Rashid. So it so happened that Prof. Al Rashid took me as one of his assistant to do the job. So then during the discussion, I asked him why Prof. Ahmad Ibrahim has to do this. So Prof. Al Rashid didn't say anything but give me 2 journal papers to read. Number one is by Monica Gordiosi. with the title "The Influence of Law of Wakaf into the Development of Trust in England, the Case of Merton College." It was written in 1988. It's mentioning that basically Merton College was established using the principle of Wakaf. So it is written by Monica Godiosi, who at that time doing her PhD at Pennsylvania University. So that's number one. Then the second article that he asked me to go through was written by this Miriam Hoekster. The title of the article would be Wakaf Studies in the 20th Century, the State of the Art. So reading this two article totally blown my mind and opened up my horizon that how powerful Wakaf is. So
Yeah.
and Prophet Rashid said to me that if you happen to continue your study into PhD, why don't you start looking as Wakaf as one of the possible area to research with? And he asked me whether in my hometown is Wakaf asset. Then I clearly remember vividly that I shared with him, Prof, in my hometown in Aceh, everywhere is Wakaf. Even our Acehnese, we have Wakaf asset in Kedah, Malaysia, Wakaf Aceh in Penang, Malaysia. And we also have Wakaf in Mecca. So when I said this to him, Prophet Rashid said to me, my son, so please do your PhD on Wakaf studies. So that's how it started and sparked my passion on Wakaf. And as they say, the rest is history.
Wow, that's really interesting. Since you mentioned that, I think I visited the State Museum or Museum Negara Malaysia in Kuala Lumpur like a few weeks ago. They mentioned in one of their placards that it was a donation from the people of Aceh. So I mean, since you mentioned that you have Wakaf pretty much scattered and spreading out in different places, I think it shows how powerful Wakaf is, right?
Yeah. It also showed not only powerful, but how Wakaf has become part of the lifestyle of our people in the past. And also they understand the message and also the strong that how Wakaf can do wonders. So that's why Wakaf become part of their lifestyle. And whenever they have the opportunities, we have the avenue, they will definitely do Wakaf in everywhere they go. That's why you found Wakaf assets scattered all over the places, especially in the place where the pilgrim made a stop. Yeah, that's why you see Penang in 1808 there was a Wakaf. Then later 1 year later in Mecca in 1909 there's a Wakaf. So and both of Wakaf asset is still there, but only in Mecca now, which is running quite well and giving the proceed to the pilgrim from Aceh. And even this year, pilgrim from Aceh are receiving about 2,000 rial, Saudi rial. That is from the Wakaf.
Wow.
Established in 1809.
1809. Wow, that's almost like more than 200 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
So, as someone who has worked on Wakaf projects in several countries, including Malaysia, what insights can you share about the differences and similarities in Wakaf practices across this region? And like, what was the most powerful and impactful Wakaf that you have studied or you have done in this lifetime?
I think before going to the question, I think we need to go back a little bit, why Wakaf powerful and how it will be beneficial to the people. And the first and foremost, we have to go back to what is Wakaf all about. Of course, there were many people saying about this definition and this and that. But to me, myself, after reading so many articles on Wakaf and then exchanging views with so many scholars on Wakaf. So I realized that Wakaf basically have two essence. The first is Wakaf is a problem solver. Number one. Number two, Wakaf is wealth creation or income generation. So let's talk about number one first. So if we look at the Wakaf in the past, we always find in the treasure that one of the most powerful wakaf would be well of Roma, Sayyidina Osman at that time. Why you have to look deeper? Why Sayyidina Osman do wakaf in the form of well at that time? It turned out that the community, especially Muslim community, were facing the problem of lacks of clean water. So they don't have enough water. Even they have water in one or particular places, but the price is exorbitant. It's difficult for them to pay for the water. Then the Prophet ﷺ asked the Sahabah to do wakaf. So if we see here, wakaf is one of the avenue to resolve the problem at that particular time. So, and then during the years, wakaf always come to solve the problem of the community. When the community need a mosque, it will build in the form of wakaf. So there you go to schools and what have you. So, and now we have so many different wakaf products because of amount of you see. And so the basis is wakaf is problem solver. So the product, it can be varies according to the need of the community at that particular time. That's number one. And number two, if you look, why I said the wakaf is income generating, one scholars asking me to look into the first of Al-Baqarah 219. Yas'alunaka maza yunfiqun. They were asking you what they should give out. And then say, give what you can spare. So the very word of al-af or spare here basically is surplus. So when it's surplus, it's meaning that Islam encourage the Muslim to do well and to have a surplus. So once you have the surplus, only then you can contribute, only then you can do wakaf. So initially, by understanding the very basic essence of wakaf, only then you can see how the people creating a lot of wakaf to solve the problem. And then coming back to your question, in Southeast Asia, no, one of the most powerful, maybe the iconic project would be the project taken by the Majlis Agama Islam Kuala Lumpur together with the Tabung Haji when they developed a piece of land which is close to KLCC. And the land was wakaf by late Ahmad Doji Dadaboy, the traders from Gujarat who happened to stay in Malaysia. And then that piece of land now has become the commercial complex in the form of Bank Islam. They call it Menara Bank Islam. So from that proceed, Majlis Agama Islam distribute the wakaf to the needy and to whatever the project they already identify with. So, and then in Aceh itself, if you see now, there's a lot of wakaf asset still serving the community, but many of these never been told to the public. You see, we have one institution here, what we call is Al-Muslim Pesangan in Matang Gelompang 2, which is in Birun. The wakaf has been established in 1929, which is way before the other wakaf established in Indonesia. So now that wakaf has what we call developed and having a lot of asset in terms of rice field, a plantation, what have you, and they have also have two universities in Aceh. One is Al-Muslim University, and the other one they call it Institute Agama Islam, something Pesangan, something like that. So that was in 1929. So they have been helping 10,000 of students to study there, but I don't know whether they have told the story or not. So to me, this is the time for us to discover whichever wakaf institution that have been serving the community and to tell the world and to share whatever they have been doing, and if possible to replicate. So replicate is a must now. So I hope I address your question,
Mhm.
Ariza.
Interesting. So now I come up with another follow-up question, Bang Fahmi. I think having said that, like some of or many probably of the stories of success stories of the Wakaf movement have not been told to the public. Do you think with this like technological era, the social media age, do you think it is very important for us or for you, the Wakaf practitioner? Based on the Islamic sort of value and philosophy, do you think it is better that we amplify this sort of success stories so that people can get inspired by it and then they will be moved by it as well, and then sort of get together and then create Wakaf as a much more impactful and much more collective movement? What do you think?
Definitely. You see, at the moment when we have what we call the budget, state of budget shrinking, and
Mhm.
so many difficulties facing by our people, and we have one powerful institution. If we do right about this, and it can do wonders to help the people and also to help the state or the country for that matter. I
Mhm.
remember at one discussion, Professor Murad from Turkey was sharing that he when he did research on Turkey Osmani budget at that particular time in 1527. So he was so surprised finding that there is no budget for education for the year, no budget for education, no budget for health, and no budget for infrastructure. So
Mhm.
most of the budget goes to defense. So
Mhm.
he was surprised, but then he tried to find out what is uh, why this happened, or and why the country at that time didn't allocate a single um, money to this three what do you call sectors. It turned out that all three, education, health, infrastructure, has been taken care of by Wakaf. So you see, Wakaf can help the government to save their budget. Or
I
so,
can tell now. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's very interesting. So, and then, yeah, let's go on to the next point that we can highlight. Since you have, I think I see one of your books on the table. You have written extensively on contemporary Wakaf issues in Indonesia. What do you think are some of the most pressing challenges facing Wakaf institution in Indonesia, in the country, or in the region in Southeast Asia, and how can they be better addressed?
Uh, Thank you. That's a very good question, and but very difficult to address it.
Do you think like
With,
like
yeah,
probably
I,
it's not
right.
clearly regulated by the government, or like do you think the Wakaf communities need a sort of a much stronger and clearer rulings on how they can move around with their
Yes,
activity?
yes, yes.
Bang
You
please.
see, if we look now, why Wakaf, which has been so powerful and so successful in the past, has become neglected and become idle now. So there's
Mhm.
many scholars, many institutions trying to find out the reason and to address this. So not only in Indonesia, basically, I remember in 2014 there were a roundtable discussion in Malaysia, which
Mhm.
is organized by Security Commission of Malaysia. They tried to look into why Wakaf is so many, dilapidated situation. Why so many Wakaf assets is did not functioning at the moment?
Mhm. Interesting.
They because of the discussion so interesting. Later on, that roundtable they produce as a book. They call it Wakaf Asset Development, Governance, and the Role of Islamic Commercial Market. So
Uh-huh.
the most important point for me in that book is they mentioned that why this happened to Wakaf, because Wakaf did not have the ecosystem like in the
Right.
past. In the past,
Yeah.
ecosystem. So what is the wakaf ecosystem? So in the book, they mention about uh, five sectors. Number one is the perception or the conception. Number two is regulation. Number three is governance. Number four is professionalism. Number five is about the fund. So if you have these five, you can develop wakaf anywhere in the world and at any time. But if you lack in this particular what you call one factors, there you go. There you will find that wakaf can develop. Like now, why wakaf has been taking a back seat? Because the people misunderstood wakaf concept. For them, maybe wakaf is it has to be in the form of land, has to be in the form of the mosque, has to be in the form of schools, without realizing that I mentioned to you before that the essence of wakaf should be problem solver. So it can be in any forms, in any instrument. So we need to propagate this. We need to share this to wide audience as possible. Only then we can address the first issue, which is the misperception of wakaf concept. And number one, of course, you have to have a robust regulatory framework and sound governance framework. We in Indonesia, luckily we have wakaf law way back 2004, 21 years ago.
Yeah.
But Indonesia's gaining the independence 1945, but only later on, only 2004 we have wakaf law.
Right.
So I think that we have neglected the wakaf. So our wakaf law is in the process of being revised because it's been 21 years, so many new aspects you need to be covered. But still, in the discussion of revision of wakaf, they fail to address the very basic problem of wakaf, basically, which is data. If someone asking you how much wakaf asset that you have, anybody can say this much, but can we trust your data?
Right.
The only country in the world that can say that they have the data wakaf comprehensively is only Singapore and India, I think.
Really?
Why Singapore? Because Singapore is a small country, small numbers of wakaf. But India, because in India, in the Wakaf Act 1995, which is being revised last year, if you look into Wakaf India, in the chapter 2, it was mandated by the law that they have to do the survey on wakaf asset, whereby state have to finance this effort. So meaning that every single state, in our case provinces, has to set aside the budget to do the wakaf survey. So by doing this, only then you can get the what they call a proper data or data of wakaf. And then you have to understand that so many wakaf did not register properly. And so many wakaf has been gone.
Right.
And there's so many wakaf in the term of dispute. So, but without doing this, how can you develop wakaf? Because you fail to have the data first. So hopefully in our law revision, they put this. And number two, what I would like to highlight here is sometimes we try to make things difficult. But if you look at the practice of wakaf Baitul Ashi in Mecca, what they do is Nazir or the wakaf manager did not do much, except they tried to find a right partner to develop the wakaf asset. So don't ask the Nazir to do a lot of things. Don't ask them to be what we call a fundraiser. Don't ask them to be a developer. Don't ask them to be what we call wakaf manager at the same time. So it is too much to ask them. So what you need to do is to simplify. You have to make in the law that every single wakaf project has to be in the form of partnership. And it has to be whatever partnership, it has to be in the agreement should be prepared by the law office, and it has to be under the supervision of Mahkamah Syariah or religious court, pengadilan agama. So with that, taking the cue from the practice of Wakaf Baitul Ashi, I think Wakaf in our country can prosper. That's number two. And number three, we in Indonesia, we have so many Wakaf stakeholders and we don't know who are doing what. So now we have to simplify this. Whether you would like to, Indonesia Wakaf Board should be a regulator or maybe become the Wakaf manager. So you have to be very clear on this. They cannot be regulator and the Wakaf manager at the same time.
Yeah.
And also we have here a lot of players like Bank Indonesia, OJK, and other what do you call banks as also as Wakaf stakeholders. So how can you put this in one single platform? So there is, a clear demarcation between who is doing what. So at least some of the stakeholders, they are working together on the same page. That's number three. And number four, do we have enough human resource to develop Wakaf? I do believe that we have it now, but then we need to give them a chance, like how Singaporean do to develop Wakaf. How Singaporean did the Wakaf development. So Majlis Agama, they established one single entity, the company, which is become their subsidiary. They call it Waris Investment. So the investment, the one who are working with it, they don't understand Wakaf concept. But what they do understand is they do understand about the business, project management, architecture,
which are completely different issues.
Yeah. So because you don't need to understand the basic concept, because so all Wakaf is a business. Wakaf is the financial institution. Wakaf income generating. So treat Wakaf as a business entity. Only then Wakaf can prosper. That's my personal point of view. Of course, because Wakaf is ijtihadi interpretation. So of course, many people maybe not agree with this, or maybe they have different interpretation of the law. And then of course, the last point is where you got the fund to the flow Wakaf asset. You see, a lot of Wakaf asset now, but we don't have enough fund. Why? Because we cannot mortgage the asset, and bank will want to give you loan to the flow the asset. So you have to find ways how to raise the fund to the flow Wakaf asset. But you see, it with the current progress in Islamic finance, with the current progress of technology, so you will find a way how to raise the fund to follow Wakaf. So that is, I think, if we can address these 5 issues, we have the potential to develop Wakaf exponentially, and can, in this case, do like did what Turkey did in the past, whereby for education, for health, maybe you don't need the budget from our government again. But of course, it's long short.
Yeah. So and having mentioned about your research going back in Makkah with the Baitul Ashi, your research has been widely recognized. And what were some of the key takeaways from this research, and how do you think it can be applied in Indonesia to solve these sort of the entangled threats and situation? And probably you can also share with us which country is actually the best performer in sort of Wakaf movement nowadays.
Okay, I have to address the first part of the question first.
Yeah.
You see, Wakaf Habib Buga Ashi in Mecca, it was established in 1809, and still what do you call, managing quite well now. What is the takeaway from this? The first question I have been mentioned before, that the importance of census survey. Why is it so? Do you think that only Aceh community has Wakaf in Mecca? No. If you look at the book written by Snoop Hongranger, Mecca in the later part of 19th century, he was mentioning that at least there were 3 Wakaf hosts, the 3 big Wakaf hosts: Wakaf Aceh, Wakaf Banten, and Wakaf Pontianak. So what happened to Wakaf
Oh,
Banten Pontianak? I will come
wow.
to
So
that.
the three of
Yeah,
them, they're based in
yeah,
Indonesia.
yeah. I will come to that later on. So do you think it's only Wakaf Habib Boga Ashi, the Wakaf asset that we are having in Mecca? No. But why is still here? Why is still exists until today? It is
Mhm,
simply because this piece of Wakaf asset was registered at the Sharia
mhm,
court.
mhm.
So registration of the asset is very, very important.
Right,
So the moment you register Wakaf asset, it will be there forever. So
right.
that did not register, nobody knows what happened. Right?
Yeah.
Same with the other Wakaf asset in Taif, in Jeddah, and even in Penang, and also
Mhm.
with the Banten and Pontianak Wakaf House. What happened to them? Because maybe the Wakaf asset is still there. It's
Yeah.
running family, I think. Become family Wakaf because it's not registered to the Sharia court. So the first takeaway, please register Wakaf asset.
Uh-huh. All right.
Of course, to register this, you have to follow with the second step, the census, right? Or,
Yeah.
or the survey. And the second takeaway is don't expect too much from Nade. So I met this Dr. Sheikh Abdul Latif Baltu and Professor Abdurrahman Ashi,
Mhm.
which both of them, Nazir Awakabatul Ashi, they said that we developed this only through collaboration. We've tried to find a partners to develop the asset and to run the asset.
Mhm.
And if
Mhm.
you see now, there are a couple of hotels which is owned by Wakaf Aceh. Their name it keep changing. Now, one of them is named Prestige Masyair. Previously, it was known as Ilah Masyair.
Mhm.
And the other one is now known as Grand Almasa. Previously, it was known as Ramada Hotel. Why is it so?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the changing of the hotel manager, hotel management. So meaning that you can change your partners anytime you like, or when the what you call the term ended. So
Right.
the point here is to develop wakaf, it is a must to have a partner. It's no way you can develop by yourself. So if you expect a Nazi wakaf to do every single day by himself, you will find the wakaf asset like we see today in our country. So many neglected, so many abuse or maybe idle lying
Right.
there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
number three. I remember that one day when Sheikh Baltu hosted us a dinner, so he was asking me, my son, if you compare what we have here in Waka Betul Ashi and the asset you have in Aceh, do you think which one is have the larger asset in terms of numbers or in terms of the value? So I say most likely Wakaf in Aceh are larger and also maybe have higher value than Wakaf in Mecca. So he
Mhm.
said, there you go. So this is the challenge for you, how you can develop Wakaf in your country, especially in Aceh. Uh, because in Mecca, they are lucky because so many people went for Hajj, pilgrim. So of course, there are many people who will be use the hotel and they rent the hotel. So what happened to the Wakaf asset in your country? So that's another message that I think we need to pick up. So number one, I remember again the importance of registration. Number two is you have to have a partners to develop wakaf, and number three is of course you have to find funding. You got the funding. What do you call to develop wakaf? And wakaf development it could be in three forms. The first one you could develop, it could be you have piece of land, you want to do something there, with the commercial complex, you building a mosque, school, what have you. So that you call development. The other aspect of wakaf development, they call it rejuvenation, meaning that you find all wakaf assets that has been, in dilapidated condition, and then you raise the fund to refurnish the building So we call that rejuvenation. Or number three, you find some business enterprises, you find a building which is running very well, and then you like that building, and maybe you would like to turn into the wakaf. What you can do is you raise the fund and buy the building. So that's what we call acquisition. So there is three what we call three parts of wakaf development. Yeah.
So you're saying that we still have a lot of homework to do, and then a lot of challenges to overcome, not only in the region, but
Definitely.
specifically in Indonesia. But now let's talk about your book. I think since it's been on the table since I don't know, like we started this podcast. Your book, The Contemporary Wakaf Issues in Indonesia, which is of course still related to the points that you mentioned earlier, has been well received by the scholars, Muslim scholars and practitioners alike. Can you tell us more about the book and its main themes, and like whether in the book you also provide some sort of personal insight and solutions to the current problems and situations that you mentioned?
Thank you very much. If you talk about the book, we need another hour or two to discuss. Don't worry. Some of the ideas, some of the gist of the book help be mentioned there. You see, this book is basically a compilation of the article, op-ed opinion, which was published in a mainstream media for maybe 7-10 years ago.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine said that you have a lot of article written on wakaf, so why don't you compile become a book? So I say just wait a little, because I don't have, I don't feel the confidence whether this book is relevant or not. But then when I follow this discussion of wakaf, it turned out that the very idea that I mentioned in the article is still relevant. For example, I'm suggesting that wakaf become part of our lifestyle. I wrote the article in 2018. And so on, I pick up that many wakaf stakeholders in Indonesia mentioning that we have to make wakaf our lifestyle. So I think maybe wakaf is still relevant. And so goes at another issues that I'm tackling about, the governance, the funding, the what we call the regulation, what have you. So then I decided, okay, it's time to maybe to compile this into a book. And then I need to find someone to write a good forward, a good preface, I think. Really, Tun Dr. Mahathir Muhammad was kind enough to put preface on that book. And then also my guru, my sifu, Tan Sri Dr. Abu Bakar, also was kind enough to pen the special introduction to the book. So to add the value to the book. So what is the book all about? What is the gist of the book? I mentioned to you, it is only two. Number one is I'm talking about the wakaf essence, number two, system. So in every single discussion, I'm tackling about this. So, in the maybe this year or next year, we'll have another version of the book. This book is in Bahasa. So next year we will have another book, or maybe this year, if possible, another book in English. So it's the compilation of the article which is previously published in the mainstream media like Jakarta Post, Malaysian Reserve, what have you. And to make it interesting, I choose the same title to the book. Here, issue contemporary wakaf Indonesia, and then if you look into English, contemporary wakaf issues. So we're the same. So what is so significant about this? Alhamdulillah, I also managed to get Tun Mahathir again to pen
congratulations
for the book, and Alhamdulillah also get the late Tun Daim. Also, Tun Daim Zainuddin, the former Malaysian finance minister, to forward for the book. So he has.
We should have another session of the podcast
to
discuss that book particularly, right? Because this will be very.
So the title of the book is Two Ecosystem and the wakaf.
Interesting. And beside the book, you have also the opportunity to work with various organizations in Indonesia, including PT Pos Indonesia and the Planning Development Board of Aceh. How do you think wakaf can be leveraged to drive economic development in Indonesia, particularly in regions like Aceh itself?
Simple, but not that simple.
I know, yeah.
You have to address whatever challenges within the past. You have to enhance the wakaf awareness, including the subject matter of wakaf, the instrument, and the time frame, meaning that wakaf can be temporary. Then you have to have the proper wakaf legislation and sound government framework. And number three, of course, collaboration with private sectors. I remember previously you were asking me which country has been doing wakaf project quite well.
Yeah.
To point out one country is not fair, I think, because many countries have been tried to develop wakaf, but
Yeah, of course.
you can find iconic wakaf project in Malaysia, in Singapore, and in Saudi. If you go for Hajj or Umrah, you will find that Zamzam Tower, that's wakaf.
Right. Yeah, I read an article about that as well. That's very interesting. Yeah.
And another country which is developed wakaf comprehensively was Kuwait, when they established this Kuwait Wakaf Public Foundation way back in 1983. So they also now have a lot of interesting wakaf project, or maybe we look forward to work together with them to develop some of the project here in Indonesia, if possible. Yeah. So that's number three. And number four, of course, you have to enhance wakaf products. Before you have wakaf land, now you have so many form of cash wakaf. Indonesia, for that matter, has developed so many new wakaf product like cash wakaf link sukuk and cash wakaf link deposit. Cash wakaf link deposit is definitely can do wonders if you do that properly. Why? Because it is temporarily. Because let's say like this, what is cash wakaf link deposit all about? The very simple definition like this, the simple explanation like this. You do the wakaf for 1 million rupiah.
Yeah.
And then next year you can take your money back. So only the proceed from that 1 million goes to whichever wakaf institution that you are choosing. You can choose any wakaf institution that you would like. So this proceed goes to wakaf ABC. It's up to you. So you of course you have to put the money in the bank, and many Syariah bank who is not offering this cash wakaf link deposit, like Bank Syariah Indonesia and Bank Muamalah and many banks.
That's a very interesting concept.
Yeah. And of course, last but not least is how you can adopt the technological advancement now. You see how you can leverage AI, how you can leverage blockchain to make wakaf more transparent, to make wakaf what we call people can follow their money in real time. So you see how you can make wakaf bigger, and also how you can do cross-border wakaf projects. So of course technology will help you. So if you are willing to adopt the technology, maybe we have the chance.
Right. And then let's talk about, since you mentioned about working with prominent figures like Tun Mahathir Mohamad, Tun Sri Sanusi, and all those big names. You have a very distinguished career in the past years, and playing a key role in setting up a Muslim Aid Indonesia. How do you think your experiences in these roles have shaped your perspectives on wakaf and its potential impact itself? Like, getting on the ground and then being the grassroots, executioners of some of the probably wakaf activities and projects. Do you think it changes and it shapes your sort of point of view and perspectives, and you get into this movement right now?
Yes, definitely. So I was lucky to get to know these big personalities. But let me share with you my personal interaction with of them. I mentioned to you the story of me and Professor Sheikh Al Rashid. So he shaped my,
Yeah.
the way I look at the Wakaf. And then the late Tasi Sanusi bin Junid, who was a minister, and as also previously he was a banker. So he was also running the micro credit project way back in 1970s in Malaysia. So the interaction with him, the insight of him also definitely shaped the way I look at Wakaf, and of course drive my commitment to develop Wakaf. And then one interesting story about when I met Tun Daim, he said that, young man, when I listen to you talking about Wakaf, I see about the disappointment. You are angry with what happened to the Wakaf asset now. So let me tell you, he said, as a businessman, you have to change your mindset, you have to change your paradigm. You say whatever you mention is a problem, you have to look at the opportunity. So if Wakaf sectors have been developed exponentially, has been developed so advanced, so what is more there for you to do? So from that point of time, the moment I see the problem, I remember his message. I remember that maybe the opportunity for me to do something. So that's really changing my perspective and changing the way how I look into the problem, the way into the Wakaf sectors. And last but not least, when I met Tun Mahathir, he also was asking me why you want to write about Wakaf and what is Wakaf so important. Was, of course, he was asking the question just maybe try to gauge my understanding of Wakaf, and at the same time whether my book is deserve his, to put his prefer at that time. So I mentioned to him, Tun, look, in the past, this Wakaf has been so powerful, and whenever you look, whenever you go, you cannot remove or deny the role of Wakaf in every single layers of our Muslim communities. If you go anywhere in the world, even if our own country, even in Malaysia, in Indonesia, what have you. But suddenly, for some reason, we neglected this Wakaf. So now it's time for us to revive it, and time for us to develop Wakaf asset. First, of course, to help the community, but then in the larger role, it can also help the government. But then Chun said that, yeah, but you have to understand that why Wakaf in the past has been going backward, because of trust. So trust is very important. So every single Wakaf manager, Wakaf trustee, you have to develop Wakaf, and you have to be very trustful to the Wakaf. So never ever try to what we call to ruin the Wakaf asset, not by you not taking Wakaf for yourself, but he said to me, but by not doing your job properly. So trust also, you have to do your job properly. So if you are trusted to develop Wakaf asset and you don't do that, so there you go. So he said to me, of course it's a long shot, but then he can see Wakaf has the potential to reclaim the glory in the past. So this interaction with so many people have what we call increased my passion on Wakaf, and the way, of course, they gave me the opportunity to learn from them. Is I'm being grateful. So ever maybe the lesson that I can learn from them, if I can have the single opportunity to participate or to contribute to wakaf, so I will do so. So one maybe a simple contribution that I'm trying to do, which I've been doing now, is whenever there is a single problem on wakaf, I try to contribute. How? Through writings.
Right. So
That,
having
that,
said that,
yeah,
since
yeah.
you love, yeah. So that's very interesting. Since you love writing, and then you've written a lot of articles about wakaf in Indonesian media outlets like the Jakarta Post or the Kompas Daily. How do you think wakaf issues can be more effectively communicated to the general public? And what role do you think media outlets like the Good News from Indonesia, the Good News from Southeast Asia can play in promoting wakaf awareness in this case? Not only the awareness of, say, what wakaf is, but also like what the problems are. Bang Fahmi, please.
This question should be addressed by you. You from the media side, you know what to do. But since you're asking, I try to contribute a little bit. So
Yeah.
in the past, the coverage on wakaf was so small, neglected in our media, especially mainstream media. But
Yeah.
now, bit by bit, there is writing on wakaf.
Yeah.
Of course, it's in the form of news, hardly in the form of op-ed. But hopefully, media can give a lot more maybe opportunity for op-ed on wakaf issues. And number two, of course, what you can do is now by this development of the technology, like we can do today, is have as much forum or wakaf talk through various platforms that you have. It can be podcast, or it can be in the form of social media, what have you. And
Yeah.
the other thing what media can do is media has to share with the public the very essence of wakaf. It has to educate the public. So media has to share with the public what is the true wakaf all about, so we can eliminate the misunderstanding of wakaf position. So that way, when the moment people understand what is wakaf all about, then wakaf will prosper, and I believe it will develop especially. And media also, what we can do is media can push the government to do and to involve in so many wakaf projects, or even the government has to put wakaf program into their mid-term development or maybe long-term development. I think which is the government of Aceh do at the moment.
Interesting. And now, what role do you think wakaf can play in addressing social and economic challenges in Indonesia? And how can it be more effectively utilized for the benefit of the society? Like how we can, the communities can, I would say, prosper or can benefit from this wakaf movement.
I think I have shared a lot with you, and then there's some insight in how to do that. But at the moment, maybe it's time for the government to take wakaf on both hands and to implement wakaf, because see, for the past few decades, wakaf has been neglected by our government. So now the government has to take a big role, or maybe leading from the front, if you may like in the case of Islamic finance, how Malaysia become the hub of Islamic finance, because the strong support from the government, because the government taking seriously. So now is the time for our government, especially with so many wakaf assets that we have. So we have to have the government who is implementing wakaf program, putting wakaf program into their long-term development program. It could be 5 years or maybe 25 years. So interestingly, now since this current government has put a focus on the Sharia economy, so why don't you open up also the opportunity for wakaf to prosper. And what this government can do to push this as to do the law revision as soon as possible, because wakaf law revision has been there in 2019, but up to now nothing happened. So hopefully, based on the information that I'm getting from various resources, saying that maybe this October, this law about this revision will start to be discussed at our parliament. So hopefully it can pass, maybe not that fast, but within this parliamentary term, because without having the new law, it's quite difficult to attract many wakaf players from overseas. So like I mentioned to you before that we Indonesia, we have a lot of wakaf asset, and we can do cross-border wakaf, meaning that the wakaf fund from overseas, but without the strong framework, I don't think that the people will ready to invest. So that hopefully it address the question.
Yeah. So this is the last point before we are taking questions from the audience. Looking ahead, what do you think are some of the most exciting developments in the field of wakaf, and how do you see yourself contributing to this field in the future, apart from the future English version of the book and also the Wakaf Summit that will be taking place in October?
Okay. Some of them already mentioned before, but let me wrap it up. So to me, at least there are 3 or 4 new interesting development on wakaf. Number one is the development of technology. So how wakaf can merge with technology, or then is, and number 2 is how Islamic finance can tap the wakaf sectors. So we are looking now that in Indonesia, like BSE, Bank Syariah Indonesia, they have what they call it, Bank Syariah Indonesia Endowment Fund. So we will look into how they would try to tap into these wakaf sectors. So this is a very interesting phenomenon, and this is including with how to leverage finance with wakaf. And don't forget about the cross-border wakaf. Why cross-border is so important? Wakaf Aceh in the past, you can consider it cross-border, because we created wakaf in Mecca, right, in the past. But now, since we have a lot of asset to be developed, and how you can attract and or to collaborate with the foreign entities or the diaspora from Aceh diaspora, Indonesian diaspora, to develop wakaf in our particular country. That's quite interesting. And the one, of course, this is maybe will be the key point for me, is we will see which government are ready to take wakaf as one of their main agenda. And as far as concerned, we in Aceh know our government have been putting wakaf in the midterm development program 2025-2029, and also for 3 years program for the next 5 years. So this also 3 or 4 interesting development in the case of wakaf. So how I can play a role in this? Number 1, of course, through writing, and then number 2 of actively advising our government, like what I'm doing now in Aceh. Hopefully they listen, or maybe they pick up some of our ideas and to put to the program. And of course, because wakaf is given the opportunity to all of us to do the project. So in the future, I will try to be wakaf entrepreneur.
Right. Yeah. Wow, that's very interesting. And now I must agree with you that we need more than an hour to discuss and talk about wakaf itself. Our time is up, but I hope you don't mind answering to questions from our audience. Is that okay, Bang Fahmi?
Okay, fine. Sure. More than happy. But
I will read out the first question.
Difficult question
for you. What does it take to make wakaf becoming mainstream in our people's mindset?
Sorry, Riza, I can't hear you.
So the first question is what does it take to make wakaf becoming mainstream idea or concept in our people's mindset?
Okay, very interesting
When
question.
talking about when,
Yeah,
when talking about social change or that kind of stuff.
you see, there is to put this on the top of people's mind. There is no other way than to campaign. Do the campaign on Wakaf every single platform through writing, through
Right.
yeah, maybe podcasts like this. So
Yeah.
every single platform you have to use Wakaf issues. And also, like I mentioned to you, that we need the media to help us also, because the more writing available on Wakaf, and then the people will understand Wakaf. But how many years it will take? Maybe 2 years. If you do this campaign continuously, then we can do this. And the other thing that we can do is we have to have as much as possible the pilot project. If you can do pilot project, and then the people interest to the project, and then if the project succeed, then the people definitely would like to replicate that. And the other thing that we can do is we have to establish in every single school the endowment fund. So when you do this, of course, the student will asking the question, what is endowment fund all about? And then you can just share with them what is endowment all about. And at the same time, they can participate in this. And to attract the participation by an endowment fund is very easy. You establish it in particular school, and then you contact all the alumni of your school to contribute to the fund. So that is the other way of try to make wakaf on the top mind of the masses, I think. But maybe within 2 years, this will happen.
Right.
I hope.
Interesting.
I do.
So now the second question, since you talked about since you've mentioned about technological advancements, how is wakaf still relevant in this modern and in this technological or social media age with AI powered financial system? Bang Fahmi, please.
Definitely, just like I mentioned to you before, that wakaf as a product. So wakaf as a problem solver, it will be relevant through the years. So the advancement of technology, indeed, it will drive the wakaf to be more powerful and to be more successful. So whatever the advancement in technology, it will become very good for wakaf. So wakaf welcome whatever the development in terms of technology, what have you, because I mentioned to you before, wakaf is very dynamic. Wakaf, product, it can be varies, it can be developed according to the needs of the particular society. So now in this case, you see, even if one particular product in terms of technology, you can also wakaf that one. For example, if maybe like mention I don't know, we should mention the name or not here. Like your platform also, okay. So your platform also can be wakaf. Yeah. Or maybe let's say we have now wakaf blockchain. So we have someone to develop the platform blockchain to what do you call, to manage the fund, what have you. So this also can be wakaf itself.
Interesting.
So being said, the most important point here is wakaf will always relevant. No matter what is the situation, and always wakaf can be useful for the people if we know how to utilize this powerful instrument.
Interesting. Well, this is the last question, if you don't mind. So the first one was about the promotion of wakaf. The second one was about wakaf and technology. And the third one, I think, is quite interesting as well for you, the cross-border wakaf. the question is, how can in particular, the government of Indonesia, to get ready with this sort of cross-border wakaf? For example, like there are people coming from the Middle East, from Saudi, from the UAE, from Kuwait, from Turkey, from Malaysia. They're coming to Indonesia, and then they are going to sort of give the wakaf funds, for example, to build schools, to build mosques, to build community centers, to build boarding schools or orphanages. Bang Fahmi, please.
It's very difficult question. But you see, the answer is so simple. Although it is not that simple. What we
Yeah.
can say is we have to have the strong legal framework and sound governance framework. So when the people
Mhm.
are happy to have these two, so it's up to them to decide. And the last
Right.
part is because wakaf is some sort of investment. So if by investing or by do wakaf in our country, it can give them a good return. So why not?
Interesting. Well, Bang Fahmi, thank you so much for your time. I know we are behind the schedule, but it has been really, really insightful and then a very thought-provoking discussion on the power of
Thank you. Thank you
wakaf,
very much.
how
Yeah.
Islamic philanthropy can drive social change in Southeast Asia, in particular in Indonesia. And we're looking forward to having another discussion, of course, with your new book, and then with the Wakaf Summit in October coming soon. So yeah, just feel free to reach out to us, and then we always have our platforms open, our website, our other social media outlets for you to sort of promote and then utilize our platforms to promote the Wakaf ideas and concepts to not only the Indonesian communities, but also the communities in Southeast Asia and beyond. Well, again, Seasians, wherever you are in Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, Thailand, Brunei Darussalam, and beyond. Thank you so much for joining us in this very interesting discussion and podcast. And we hope that we'll see you again very soon. Next week, we have another very interesting guest coming with different topics. So stay tuned on the good news from Southeast Asia. And I wish you a very good evening wherever you are. Take care and Assalamualaikum. Good evening. Bang Fahmi, thank you so much. And please stay in touch.